that Vegeta is one of the greatest warriors in the Dragon Ball universe you already know, and that he is one of those who always fights to keep his word you also already know. He always remains calm, except that one time Beerus hit Bulma. So what is missing for him to truly go insane, like he did when Bulma was attacked, and unleash a devastating power so intense that he will be mistaken for Broly himself? That moment is coming, and I'm going to prove it to you. So stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and activate the notification bell. Vegeta, without transforming into Super Saiyan 3, surpassed Goku for that brief moment, as said by Master Roshi. Among various of his rage explosions lies his true essence, oftentimes a directed and controlled fury that keeps molding Vegeta more and more. And so, we know the starting point, and the final push he needs to reach another level and finally surpass himself. And that moment is closer than you can even imagine. Please stay until the end of the video and come witness the fury of the Prince of all Saiyans, the proud Vegeta. Frieza finally kills Beerus and sets the key moment of his plan into motion. But what he didn't expect was a Vegeta completely, open quote, crazy, close quote. Yes, Vegeta completely loses control when this happens. And this is precisely what's missing for Vegeta to finally become worthy of being a Hakaishin of Universe 7. And this is a delicate moment. You're not understanding anything, are you? Well, let's dive a little deeper so that you can get it. Vegeta, the Saiyan who respects masters. We've seen this many times. How he's a disciplined guy. And beyond that, the respect generated is what remains. He deeply respects those with equal power or those who constantly seek more strength. That's how he built a years-long relationship with Kakarot, and now that reflects with Beerus. Their training, the moments of evolution, and the master and student dynamic, that grew and became even more evident as Beerus trained Vegeta to master the power of destruction, entrusting him with that power. And Vegeta respects and admires this deeply, because he understands that, like it or not, Beerus placed a bet on him, and he didn't disappoint. He soon appeared with Ultra Ego, but after that, he got badly beaten by Frieza. Not just him, but Goku too. Vegeta now, more than ever, needs to go mad, in a good way. He needs an energy explosion, just like the one he had back when Beerus hit Bulma. We'll emphasize that in a moment. For now, we know this can happen in various ways, but to center this video, we'll only talk about the way that will tie Frieza and his plan to become a god of destruction. And for that, he must kill none other than Beerus. We don't know Frieza's current level, but if this ends up happening, Whis can't interfere, and it will be the moment of Vegeta's true fury, one that will match Broly's, even though he has a history of knowing how to control himself. Sometimes, we need to go a little crazy. The relationship between Vegeta and Beerus is one of the most complex and interesting in Dragon Ball Super, because it's never expressed directly like a traditional master-student bond. It gradually reveals itself as a dynamic of forced respect, contained fear, silent learning, and, above all, humility acquired through pain. Unlike what happens between Goku and Whis, where there's an almost friendly and explicit training relationship, Vegeta and Beerus have a much rougher connection, filled with tension, wounded pride, and evolution through observation and frustration. Vegeta doesn't call Beerus his master, but he knows he needs to learn from him. And Beerus, in turn, sees potential in Vegeta, even if he never admits it out loud. From their first contact, when Beerus comes to Earth looking for the Super Saiyan God and threatens to destroy everything, Vegeta reacts with a paralyzing fear that he rarely shows to anyone, seeing him defeat Goku, Majin Buu, and even challenge time and space with his presence. Vegeta realizes he is facing something far beyond his understanding of strength. But the most significant thing is that, even in fear, he acts to protect Bulma when she's hit. In that moment, he reaches an explosive power, not enough to win, but enough to surprise Beerus himself. And that plants the first seed of respect. Beerus starts to see that Vegeta, despite his pride and roughness, has layers that go beyond the pursuit of power. He has honor, loyalty, and passion. Later, in the resurrection of Frieza arc, Vegeta starts training with Whis, not because Beerus accepted him, but because he tolerated him. Beerus never takes a direct role as Vegeta's teacher. He doesn't teach with words, doesn't guide his moves, but is always present, like a shadow that sets an almost unreachable standard. Beerus' presence constantly reminds Vegeta how small he still is before the top of the cosmic hierarchy. Every gesture of Beerus, every fight he stops with a finger, every sarcastic comment or veiled threat, serves as a reminder to Vegeta. He's still crawling in the world of gods. However, over time, Beerus starts interacting more directly with Vegeta. In the Granola arc, that relationship radically changes. For the first time, Beerus invites Vegeta for personal training, separate from Goku. And that gesture, by itself, is already significant. Vegeta didn't ask for it. Beerus offered it. But what happens next is even more intense. Beerus begins the training by forcing Vegeta to confront the sins of his race. He reveals that the Scions were nothing but tools of destruction, and that there's no use in blaming oneself or trying to redeem the past. To master the power of destruction, the Hakai, it's necessary to free oneself from all emotional attachments. Vegeta, who always fought based on pride, guilt, and loyalty, now needs to unlearn all of that. Beerus, in a brutal and harsh way, forces Vegeta to break his deepest convictions. This training is not about techniques, it's about ideology. Beerus teaches Vegeta not through advice, but through mental confrontations. He burns his armor, destroys his certainties, mocks his morality, and forces him to accept that destruction, in the divine sense, is not cruelty. It is a function of the universe's balance. Vegeta starts to understand, then, that Beerus doesn't want him to copy Goku, doesn't want him to reach Ultra Instinct. He needs something different. He needs pure destruction, channeled with conviction, without guilt, without hesitation. And that's where Ultra Ego is born. This new form is the materialization of Beerus' teachings. It is the philosophy of the god of destruction applied to Vegeta's essence. Unlike Ultra Instinct, which is based on calm and evasion, Ultra Ego feeds off offense, surrender to battle, and the pleasure of taking damage, and continuing to advance. And this is totally coherent with Vegeta's personality. He is not Goku. He never will be. And Beerus makes that clear by pushing him in the opposite direction. The curious part is that, even after all that, Beerus continues treating Vegeta with sarcasm, impatience, and superiority. He doesn't praise him, doesn't acknowledge his progress kindly, but he allows Vegeta to remain by his side, and that, coming from Beerus, is already a kind of approval. Deep down, he knows that Vegeta is getting closer and closer to understanding the true nature of destruction. And Vegeta himself, even without admitting it, internalizes Beerus as a true master, not in the traditional sense, but as someone who guided him onto a new path, who gave him a kind of power no other being had ever offered. Their dynamic is, therefore, a reversed master-disciple relationship. Silent, uncomfortable, but deep. There are no compliments, no direct recognition, but there are results. And that's what matters to both. Vegeta doesn't need Beerus to say he's proud. He only needs to prove to himself that he is capable of reaching something not even Goku or the other gods expected of him. And Vegeta understands this well, because he is like that with Kaba and with Trunks himself. The relationship between Vegeta and future Trunks is undoubtedly one of the most emotional and complex in the entire Dragon Ball franchise. What's interesting is that with him, Vegeta maintains his tough, rational, and unaffectionate stance, but pain, pride, and deep affection are revealed more strongly than ever. And just like with Kaba, and even with Beerus, Vegeta plays this mentor role without ever seeming like a traditional master. He doesn't teach with words, but with presence, action, and demand. And that's precisely what makes the bond with future Trunks so special. The peak of their relationship occurs in the Goku Black arc, years later, when future Trunks returns in desperation, asking for help. There, we already see a different Vegeta, more mature, but still proud. At first, he faces him with coldness, but as soon as he sees the gravity of the situation, he joins Goku and heads to the future. And there, amidst the destruction, Vegeta starts acting like never before. He doesn't just fight for Trunks, he protects him, inspires him, pushes him beyond his own limits. They train together, face Zamasu side by side, and for the first time, they fight as true equals. Trunks grows immensely as a warrior, not because of Goku's advice, but because of Vegeta's example. Trunks' pride in his father is evident in every look, and Vegeta's pride in his son is unspoken, but visible in every action. He no longer needs to say anything. He is there with him until the end. And there's a key moment that marks this transformation. When Vegeta sees future Trunks trying to protect his world's people, even while weak, even with no chance, he changes. Vegeta then attacks Goku Black with true rage. And it's not just rage for the enemy. It's rage for seeing his son suffer, for seeing that boy fight alone for so long. And later, When Trunks tries to sacrifice himself, Vegeta stops him. He tells him to stay alive, protect the others, and win. It's one of the rare moments where Vegeta clearly takes a fatherly stance. There's no need for a hug. No, I love you. But there are words, and those words, coming from Vegeta, carry immense weight. In fact, one of the most beautiful and symbolic moments of this relationship happens when the two fight together in perfect sync against Zamasu, a father and son from two different timelines, but united by a bond that transcends time. They fight as equals, think the same way, protect each other. And in that moment, Vegeta is not just fighting for justice, nor for pride. He's fighting for Trunks, for everything he represents, for everything he survived. And when it all ends and Trunks' future is lost, destroyed by Zeno's presence, Vegeta is the first to understand his son's pain. He doesn't cry, doesn't scream, but his silence speaks louder than any dramatic reaction. He knows Trunks has lost his entire world, again, and even if he can't fix that, he stays by his side until the end. This relationship between the two is, in a way, the purest form of affection Vegeta can offer. He's the kind of father who shapes warriors, not with affection, but with toughness. But behind that facade, Trunks feels and understands how much Vegeta cares. And for that reason, the trust between them is unshakable. Trunks never doubts his father, and Vegeta, even if he doesn't say it, is immensely proud of his son. Vegeta has always been a character marked by pride, calculated coldness, and an obsession with surpassing his own limits, especially when it comes to his rivalry with Goku. However, behind all this rigidity, there are moments throughout the franchise where he completely loses control, be it out of frustration, pain, hatred, guilt, or even love. These episodes are crucial to understanding how the Prince of the Scions is perhaps the most human character among the universe's warriors, precisely because he doesn't hide his breakdowns and emotional outbursts. It's also important to remember a subtler, yet very symbolic moment. The instant when Vegeta loses control because of Bulma. This happens when Beerus, the god of destruction, slaps her during the birthday party. Vegeta explodes. It no longer matters who's in front of him. For the first time, he momentarily surpasses Goku's power. His rage upon seeing Bulma being hurt is something that breaks any limit he had. He doesn't think, he just attacks. His scream in that moment is almost animalistic. This is a Vegeta who lost control not because of pride, but because of love. It's one of the few moments where a positive emotional force, a bond with someone, drives him more than rage or the desire to surpass. In the manga, this moment doesn't exist. It was an exclusive addition to the anime, precisely to give more depth to the relationship between him and Bulma, and to humanize the character even more. In the Tournament of Power, this duality returns, when Top transforms into a god of destruction and throws in Vegeta's face that emotional attachment weakens him. The prince explodes with a new power, Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. But unlike previous outbursts, this is a controlled loss of control. He channels pride, rage, and love for his family into a stable power. He doesn't give in to chaos, he masters it. This reflects his maturity. The anime focuses heavily on this, with extended scenes and speeches about his promise to Kaba, to Bulma, and to Bra. In the manga, the transformation occurs in a more technical manner, with less emotional emphasis, giving a colder tone to the breakthrough. And that's how he'll overcome so much, through the strength he gains when he goes crazy.